Well, hello everyone. Welcome back for the Digital Go graduate. For 2018. It's like for part two right here. Seeing sequel two, and this right here we'll be talking about right here like for New Year's. And I know that anybody that more likely wanted to are like, yeah, that a lot of the goals and achievements or so for anything related to the graduates that might take place right around New Year's. But I do some pen sketches right here of some people right here, like if we were at, like, say, like a New Year's party, and you're like Warren Tour, yeah, a lot of times around New Year's, that I mean, I could have added more some Photoshop work right here, just to kind of show for a little bit about what's going on more in the drawing right here, but. You see right here are some examples right here of groups of people right here. You have right here is example right here of like two couples kissing, and then the other one, a few of them, that could be what you call, shaking hands or dancing or maybe shouting or something like that. So a number of things that we could be doing at the New Year's party. And on your hand too, a few of those students will maybe want to where that, yeah, that whenever you graduate and then work on, it's like move on to where you're waiting for you'll be able to get hired onto a job, or like any type of jobs or anything like that you move on to as well. And it's something that may warrant or that really that it costs money that maybe you don't have at the moment, just to be able to get that, what you call that degree and study. And so that's just the thing, is to where that, like with me though, is to where that whenever people ask me is to where that anything about what you call college graduate, for 2018, and for like accountants, and I guess you gotta say that to where that, yeah, you may have more accounts than compared to degrees. And any type of certificate, any for any kind, and if it's going to be a degree in social working, or if it's maybe for an auto mechanic or somebody like that, that you're like wanting to, or which is going to come first, and one of those more like I say it's going to be the accounts rather than the certificate. And so far as for this the Go for Digital Go is like for anything about Go Graduate, and for anything about College Graduate 2018. And I picked that year, by the way, just to represent. It's like to where, like I mentioned before, is to where it represents, is to where they at least have something. But I know more likely on screencasts I'll be putting up some more videos that are going to be talking about their birth certificates, as well as for goals and achievements coming up later on by 2018. And think about for 2017 as well. But you see right here is like for talks about for Digital Go or 2 right here is that anything that like Warren Tour that about New Year's, though, is that whenever, if we're going to be at a New Year's party, and sometimes it's like that basically means is to where that I can go ahead and include this right here, is to where that yeah, you buy December, include this by December, and I know like that there's going to be what you call another calendar, I think on the East Coast or somewhere like that, on December the 31st, 2016, New Year's. And what do we think about this right here? Go ahead and give it like a color right here, but click on that right there. But anyway, go ahead and see right here. Go ahead and see here for December the 31st. That would probably mark, that usually marks right around New Year's. So the way we think about this right here for December 31st of 2016, and usually right around midnight or so, and say between Western time and Eastern time or so, at midnight. So go ahead and see here. Midnight 12 a.m. So whenever we're thinking about this right here, is like, yeah, that right around New Year's, and then like we say, there's a lot of people, if quite a few of us, that stay up, around that time of the night or so, just to be able to watch, the ball drop, or if it's anything about what you call, for how that the people, how they celebrate as well. And go ahead and add just a little bit of color to that as well. But see here, go ahead and I'm like trying to think here. Yeah, color to that. Okay, that's go ahead. Okay, go ahead and go to the light blue. But anyway, so there's something of you had this date right here for like around New Year's of midnight, as of 12 a.m. A lot of times you say, especially on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, that there's going to be people that are going to be what you call out at late night hours, celebrating as well as if anything about related to celebrating with parties or anything like that, gatherings or so, and you're like Warren to where that that the people probably weren't to where that those who do have to work the next morning or so, or if it's anything that is related to anything that's going on, and anything that we may have gone to school for, and I mean that's just a thing is that they say is that right now everything seems to be what you call all I say on like any kind of phrase, if you want to call it like a phrase, is that you're like wanting to know about as to where what's going on with your certificate. Like, hey, you graduated, but then you're just not sure, what's going on with that. So that's just a thing that I have right here is that this right here would be like maybe example right here of like a type of moment to where if I were to be what you call holding a little girl and it's like being like we say a group of people right here, especially on New Year's, and for how we celebrate the New Year's Eve together. It's like when knowing about, I'm like, yeah, you have right here's this right here would be like right here's a lady right here, a girl right here, she would be holding her hands up. It's like she if it's shouting, dancing to the music, and then you have right here's these couples that they would be kissing, and you have right here some children or so in the background. So these are like this right here could be a variety of what you call themes or some sort for what could be going on around New Year's. And you're like Warren to where there are quite a few of them that whenever you see them and then they ask it's where, hey, what's going on with your school stuff, or hey, that have you gotten your certificate yet, or anything that they want to talk to you about especially. And you're like Warren toward it, yeah, that you'll ride around New Year's, and sometimes people warn toward it, yeah, that anything that goes on around New Year's, and you're like Warren toward that from the time the clock that comes up to midnight or so and countdown for the next year, and more likely that your chances are knowing about that you'll know something for sure. So that's just the way I think about it too, is that the question goes by as to what do you think that you will have by then? You're like, want to say by next year, or maybe by 2018 is maybe you'll know whenever you have something. So you have right here for Digital Go, and have right here is like talk about for accounts, but so far as for college graduate 2018, and and I know I'll probably be getting in some more projects later on. I'll be putting up later on screencast. But you have right here is talking about for digital design. And I know like with anybody more likely, but anything that is related to any type of a degree and study, and talk about for college graduate. And sometimes it just seems like toward it, if anybody weren't toward it, yeah, whenever people ask, and then knowing about for what year you plan on graduating, and sometimes what you really feel like saying is to where, well, really that for what all that is on order, for anything that maybe that people would want to see, and I was also thinking about if I want to go ahead and come up with a list of what you call people probably say that they placed quite a few orders, and one of those orders would be is toward yeah, we want to see some work related to this or that, and so that's just a thing about is to where that whenever students graduate, that it's kind of like it seems like a lot of things are kind of like we say on like the freeze moment to where that yeah, that they're wanting to know a little bit about what's going on with a certificate. I'll go ahead and put the order right there. But you have right there is like for orders, so I know that 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 can necessarily toward you anything about maybe New Year's, if it's going to be New Year's, or if it's going to be anything about any other type of events, especially. This right here, I went and sketch right here with a pen of it. This was right here was example right here of me, and I'm like, yeah, I can go ahead and use a little bit of the blog brush a little bit with that right there. Go ahead and change the size quality, but I see should go ahead. But have right here, yeah, I'll go ahead and change a fit. But anyway, just kind of give this some color. I was thinking that, yeah, that it's just, this kind of came at the last minute, so anybody that may warrant where you could have maybe done a little bit more Photoshop work with this, but still, that the point to where I'm trying to get to where yeah, I for anybody who's a student that you're like Warren, to where you want to think that it would cost extra money maybe just to receive your certificate whenever you're going to be due for answers and you don't know anything yet, so a lot of things are what you call considered not accurable. And that's sometimes some people consider it to be very frustrating, because you got people that often ask about for anything about hey, when you gonna be due to graduate, we know, but so information like that other people would tend to ask, especially. And sometimes you just gotta, the information that you gotta provide, it's like you could be as toward it, yeah, possibility by what you call fall of 2016, or if it's going to be by spring of 2017, or maybe by summer of 2018. And some people that may warrant, or that, hey, that if you're not quite sure, we can go ahead and just write non-accurable or anything like that about that's a possibility will soon to come or so. But still, that for anybody who warrant, or if we ever thought about this, like between December 31st of 2016 by midnight, and just think about for what all that is like accomplished, and knowing that anything about what you call plans for the next year. And then sometimes I say that, yeah, that some people, quite a few people, would still be awake around that time, and just to kind of celebrate the new year, if it's after the Christmas time or any other holiday. And you're like, Warren Tor, okay, do you know anything yet about your certificate? Do you know anything yet about anything about, well, do you know about when you're supposed to do to graduate, or have you gotten your certificate yet? And so a lot of these things will be called, for unknown. And I can go ahead and include this right here. And I know that this is what you call the type of speech tour. I'm sure that not too many people want to hear that. People say that, oh no, we don't want to hear I don't know. We don't need to hear I don't know. Just like we say, you look at your certificate and it's and then on here on the certificate says unknown. I'm like, what does unknown basically mean to anybody? Really, what does unknown mean? Does that mean to where that information has not been released? Or does that information has not been decided yet? Or nobody knows where it came from? Or does the fact about it toward it somebody's somebody that's not being very good and clear about keeping you updated about any information that needs to be reported? But on your hand, that for anything that's what you call unknown. And so sometimes you're like Warren Tor, that for anything that's what you call is like for unknown, that it's like for not accurable, and I could also include that right there, for not accurable. But for NA for not accurable. But on your hand, with anything about what you call digital Go, that people often ask as toward, yeah, when are you going to be due to graduate? And you just try to give them simple answers that well, you're not sure yet, or still that it's like, want to know, well, how come the question is not really about what my GPA score is, huh? What is my GPA, other than the fact about when are you going to be due to graduate? And I know, like anybody that may warrant, or yeah, if anybody asks, in case if anybody asks me, it's like, anybody would probably say, it's like, if anybody asks, just say 2018, by the year 2018, like a when in 2018. Well, I tell you one thing, and I know some people that may think, as I was also thinking about, is to where, by the time that you learn how to pick up sticks, and do any other house chores, but still that anything that is related to, like anybody say that by the time the GPA score that shows improvement, or if it's anything related to what you call, if like you do your fair share of duties or so, then more likely is to where that for anything about what you say for known, for unknown, and anybody that may warrant to where, so I have it here, but okay, try this right here. I'm like, when are you gonna be due to graduate? And you're like warranting to where, well, that is unknown. Nobody knows. Nobody knows that information because of what you call is like a really, how do you spell that? Or that information that has not been released, or if it's anything about us to where, oh, okay, that information was released, but it's been kept confidential, or it's been hiding, or anything like that. But still, that for like Digital Go, though, Digital Go2, it's like for anybody that's saying it's like if you're going to be what you call a college student, or what you call is like anybody that's going to be working somewhere for quite a period of time, and they ask, it's like, is to where, when are you going to be getting a promotion, or when are you going to be getting a raise? So sometimes it seems like to where that, really, is that your job, just to get nosy, just to ask questions? And sometimes it's like, your career that may have grown twice the amount since what you call the last time that you signed in and signed out. And then you're like, ever since the New Year's party, that people have been kind of what you call, have noticed some what you call some, maybe some unusual behavior coming from you and your account, and it based on anything about for what they see and what you do. And so you're like thinking about his tour, until the meantime, that what you think you're going to be busy with. It's like, you won't begin your certificate probably until next year, more like, so what are you going to do in the meantime? And does that mean as tour, or you can go party, or does that basically mean as tour that, find something to keep you busy with, especially. And one of those things that could get you busy with is tour that, if anybody says that, yep, well, what we call that optional stuff, and that's another thing I want to mention too about optional stuff. Any suggestions? Anything that you just come up all of a sudden, and I can go ahead and include that right there. Optional. So if there is anything related to like optional right here, I'm like, see here, go ahead. Optional right there. See here, I'll go ahead and click on try to think here, trying to spell that correct. I know it. See, sometimes it's hard to read whenever it said. That's not like I could zoom into. But anyway, for anything that you're working on, and then it just comes up all of a sudden. I know it's still not correct, is it? I'm gonna try to see if I can go back and try to change that. Okay, let's see if that works. Anyway, you're trying to get it absolutely perfect too, and sometimes you're like, options are optional. Anyway, I can tell anybody here that anything what we call for unknown or unrecognized or anything like that, and I'm like, really, just to trying to get it absolutely perfect. As I say, the things that more likely that you were trying to work on, and but still that for anything what we call for optional, and but anyway, go ahead and retype that so I can get it. Okay, try that. But anybody that may want, or yeah, when are you going to be due to graduate? And I'm like, keep telling them that, yeah, it's summer of 2018 is when I'm going to be due to graduate. And if you say, yeah, well, according to what the school says, that we were told that you were due to graduate as of this year and this fall, and or they if it was due to yeah, you're due to graduate. Actually, you're going to be due to graduate as of 2018. Leave it at that. We say that chances are that, if I do decide to go back to school maybe for another year or something comes up to where that, yeah, something I got to work out especially. So if anybody weren't, or, yeah, how come that a lot of your questions are not related to the grade book? Great book, and maybe about anything about, for any about your work experience. How come people don't ask you too much about interest in your work experience other than the fact about when are you going to be done with school? So if anybody weren't, or yeah, anything about that, and it's like say for New Year's, if it's going to be like New Year's party, ever since New Year's of 2015, that people, that you got maybe about 40 clients who are wondering about his tour. Hey, what's going on with your certificate and your degree? Because we checked your profile and found out that there's quite a few updates that need to be come up, especially if it's for financial aid. And we're just kind of wondering what's been going on with that, about your enrollment status, and as well as anything else. And I say, yeah, well, what I usually call is like where I kind of call it is to where if you want to go deeper into the leather, I'm like, if you really just want to, so if you're that curious, then maybe that you would, what you call, ask questions. And with these questions, that more likely would be related to what you call is to where, what about Matthew? What's going on with that? Well, what's going on with him? About his certificate. But I'm like, think about it, to where, yeah, that whenever I first started, that I was out of school for about 10 years, over 10 years, and at that time I do wonder to where that why is it that people ask questions such as when am I going to be due to graduate? Because I had close to already a decade to where that I had those years to do whatever I pleased, and then so far as working and any amount of spare time that I did have. And so it seems like at the time when people ask, most of the time when people ask, is to where it seems like to where that, yeah, well, whenever you're free later on, I like to, I want you to come to this event. I want you to participate in this meeting or some sort. And sometimes I do feel like saying this to where, well, you better pay me a fair wager because I'm not doing it. But still, that the way I think about it, though, is like, really, we may say it all depends, but still. And another thing that I did want to talk about is like for anything about mistakes, and the type of mistakes I want to mention about is to where that is that anybody that may warrant or yeah, anything about what you call mistakes is that anything maybe about on our tax return, or if it's anything related to that we get in the mail, and sometimes what do we call that, or that we get something in the mail that we were not expecting, and besides a surprise or so. I'm talking about the type of a mistake that I'm talking about would be used toward it. Somebody just gives you something and they ask you to sign this and sign that, and then it's like, well, what's this or what's that? Well, hey, I just deliver, okay? I don't explain about what it is and where it came from. So that's just the thing that sometimes that people say that, yeah, whenever you get something in the mail and then you're like, warrant, or what's this? Well, I thought I already got this. How come I'm getting another one? Or, hey, what's this all about? What's that all about? So I know that, like with anyone, that for how did they handle it, it's like for what we call a mistake. And so anything that we may get in the mail that what we call is to where that, yeah, that well, we thought we already got this, or we thought we were told this or that. So it seems like that this whole part about communication is what you call, it's like kind of what you call, it's it's kind of to put your mind on what you call like a, like a, it's where your mind just starts spinning. But anyway, but talk about right there. I'm going to talk about right here, for like, for college graduate, for 2018, for Digital Go2, as I say, for anything unknown, May 25. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Also, I also want to mention right here, talk about for New Year's parties, and this right here, like, yeah, a group of people right here, and if anybody wanted to, where, yeah, that some of us that may not even remember, too much about what we did on New Year's Eve, especially if it was what you call, it's like, if you're going to be what you call, from where you were, and then from where you were celebrating the Christmas holiday or any other type of holiday, and if we're talking about maybe over 7 years ago, something like that, maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that you're trying to remember a lot, from when where you were, and then what you did, and what you said as well, and any type of dance or anything, like people that you were hanging around with, that type of stuff. And I guess people say one way to how to refresh in your memory. More likely could be is to where it talks about the interest as well, and then maybe about jobs, but still, that if anybody wanted to, where, yeah, almost every year on New Year's, does that basically mean is towards time, refreshing your memory, something's got to change, we need to work something out, or so, or does it basically mean is toward that, yeah, well, you just be patient with it. But other than that, the top I see, May 25, and thanks for watching.